When it comes to shuffle dancing, I think that one of the biggest mistakes you can make with this is not treating it like the high intensity workout that it is. What I mean by this is you aren't fueling properly, you aren't warming up beforehand, you aren't doing strength and cardio outside of shuffling, and it's your only form of exercise. You aren't doing mobility work, and you aren't considering your body's mechanics in these movements. Now, this video is not to tell you what you can't do. It's giving you insight into why you move the way that you do and how you can reduce your risk of injury when doing these movements. For this video specifically, I want to talk to you about mobility and body mechanics because I think that this is really eye-opening, especially as you're going throughout this process, and especially if you're watching certain shufflers and wondering why you can't do what they do. And while your experience and your practice is going to play a role in this, your mobility and your body mechanics are also going to play a role. I want to talk to you first about mobility, and I'm going to use the running man and running as an example. So the running man is one where you're either going to have a narrow stride or you're going to have a wide stride. And yes, you can work on both. Yes, you can develop both, and there are different styles. You are going to find that you naturally gravitate towards one or the other based on your body mechanics. So as a runner myself, I have a narrow stride when I run, and I know that if I try to get a wide stride, I am more likely to injure myself because I have shorter legs, and because ultimately, the wider we try to go with our stance, the more likely we are to injure ourselves. Now, there are going to be people that can go wide and not get hurt, and this obviously isn't going to be a big deal to them, but this is going to be a big deal to a lot of people that find that wide stride is very, very difficult for them. And so as we're working on this and as we're talking about your mobility, please keep that in consideration and understand that you can do mobility work and that can help you and practice can help you. But also your body mechanics might be playing a role in how your body's moving and what's safest for you. So you might see someone that's got a really powerful wide stance and they're killing it and it looks easy for them. And then you try to do it and you get hurt, especially if you're doing this tired. That can also be a limiting factor, right? Because when we get tired, we often lose our form and our risk for injuring ourselves. In addition to this, mobility-wise, I want to talk about hip, knee, and ankle mobility, and I'm going to focus real quick on ankle mobility. And I'm going to use myself as an example here as well. I have had issues with my right foot since I was a child, and I have a lot of pain in this foot. And no, I don't let it limit me or stop me from doing what I'm doing. I do notice that sometimes I have to take time off from doing certain moves because it is very hard for me and painful with this foot. And not only that, but the mobility that I'm lacking in this ankle specifically makes it really hard for me to hit certain pivoting motions and create certain shapes when it's in pain and when it's feeling stiff and when I'm not as mobile in that foot. And I do mobility and strength exercises with it, and I'm working on it. I do notice that it is a limiting factor, and our ankle mobility is going to play a huge role in our pivoting and different things that we're doing, which is a huge part of shuffling, especially in cutting shapes. So I want to address that real quick. It might not be that you just aren't getting it. It might be that you don't have the mobility to get it yet and you can work on it. Maybe you don't have the strength in your feet and your ankles to do this yet. And it can also be a knee thing or it can be a hip thing. This is a huge chain, right? And if one thing is off, it might be affecting the other thing. And that's just something to consider, that it might not just be impossible for you to do. It's something that you need to look into more with the mobility of different parts of your body. The next thing that I want to talk about is body mechanics, but that also plays a role in your mobility. So my body mechanics, I am 5'1" and I have short legs. So my body mechanics are going to be different than someone that is 6 feet tall, right? And just the way that I move and my torso and my femurs and just different ways that our body is structured and how it moves. So if you are watching a specific shuffler and they're moving a certain way, it might not be as doable for you based on your body's mechanics. So sometimes it can be really helpful to look at other shufflers that have similar body mechanics and certain builds, and it's comparable to the build that you have, because if you don't have the body mechanics for it, you might not get the same look and ability that that shuffler has based on their body mechanics. I hope that makes sense. So I wanted to address this real quickly today because as someone who's working in my own shuffling journey and teaching other people how to shuffle, I am often paying attention to their body mechanics when they're moving, and I can often make suggestions based on that and their mobility to help them. But I'm also going to add here that if you aren't doing that mobility work outside of your shuffling and you aren't strengthening your legs and your core and other areas of your body and working on your cardio, these movements are all going to feel so much harder because we're lacking in those areas. I hope that makes sense. And if you have any questions about anything that I just talked about, don't hesitate to ask. This is meant to be informative. It's not meant to be discouraging. In fact, I hope it encourages you to learn more about your body and how to move well, reduce your risk of injury, and how to get better at shuffling in general.